Beer, it's an American tradition and a brewmaster's craft. Join me as I hit the streets to find some of America's best breweries. Brew Hops TV. On this episode, we're heading to Sanford, Florida. Meet an award-winning home brewer and then check out Little Wekiva Brewery here in Longwood, Florida.
So Big Dog, where are we headed today?
Chip, today we're headed to downtown Sanford, Florida. We're gonna go check out the Community Brew House, also home of Sanford Homebrew. These are the guys that put all of Sanford brewing on the map.
So this entire area is filled with microbrewery, and these two guys are the ones that started the whole thing?
Sanford has really kicked off the home brewing process, and then all these little microbreweries. So you've got so much going on right now. It's amazing. But Gary and Aaron are the two that started the whole process and got everybody going.
Excellent. So this is the ground zero of the microbrewery.
Pretty much the godfather of microbrewing here in Sanford, Florida.
A beautiful downtown area, Big Dog.
It is.
There's another brewery right there. They're like everywhere.
They're like popping up.
So Big Dog, is this the place right here?
Sure, this is a place.
How about this one right here?
Yeah.
Oh, first front row.
Front row.
Coming in hot.
Coming in hot. As we pulled into Sanford Homebrew, doesn't look like much from the outside, but these guys influence a lot of brew makers here in the city of Sanford. Aaron, how you doing?
Doing great.
Good
Welcome.
to see you. So brew houses here in the community. What's one of the community beers you guys try to make to kind of commemorate that?
Our Porch Fest beer is probably the most well-known one. We started brewing here in January a couple years ago when we do an event here in town called Porch Fest, where everybody gets lawn chairs and they go to people's porches and drink beer and listen to music.
Porch Fest is kind of everywhere, all over downtown Sanford.
Yep. So we did a German-style fest beer for Porch Fest, so we just call it Porch Fest beer, and it was super popular. And it's just nice because it's got a good balance of like malt and hops, and it's a little bit stronger than most beers, and so people really like it. Yeah.
I think we need to check that out right now. Let's do that as our starting off beer.
Here at Community Brew House, we have 11 beers on tap. And the beers that we have found over the years that we need to have on draft all the time are our Squirrel Chaser, our beer flavored beer, that's our light lager. Our Porch Fest, which we named after the event that goes on here in Sanford in February every year. We made a very light German Fest beer, which is a step down from a German Oktoberfest, but it's still malty and has a lot of flavor in it. We do a simple sour that's on tap all the time that we can flavor with different flavorings like the Germans do with several of their different styles of beer like Berliner Weiss. So in our bottle collection, our bottles and can collection, we try to have an eclectic collection from around the world of beers that we really like and that you can't find everywhere else. We also do coffee. So it's like going to a regular upscale coffee shop inside of a brewery.
So this is Porch Fest.
Yeah.
Pretty good. What all goes into that?
So that's got some Pilsner malt, Carapils, some Munich malt, so it's nice and bready.
Yeah,
and
I
malty.
taste it was very bready.
Yep, and then it's got some classic German hops.
Yeah.
Just some nice herbal, spicy kind of hops in the
Now,
finish.
are there any, I know you guys help out a lot of the other bars. Do you guys share your beers with other bars in town, or is everything exclusively sold here?
Everything that we brew here, we sell here, just because of the license that we have.
Okay.
But we collaborate with a lot of other breweries here in town, and we work together on a lot of stuff. We help a lot of people with recipes.
So there might be another Porch Fest at another venue, is what you're saying?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes kind of everybody does their own version of
Okay.
Porch Fest beer. There's a few other events throughout the year that kind of, Oktoberfest or things like that, where everybody does their own take, but we usually kind of like collaborate on things like that.
What's the style of beer that you like to make that's like the most fun? Like, Like you look forward to coming in and that's what I'm working on today.
Yeah, I would say the Alien Space Juice that we make
Right.
is kind of the most unique and fun one that we do because it's raw, hazy IPA. We don't boil it. It's got a bunch of different grains in there. It turns out purple and everybody kind of goes crazy about
So
that.
let me stop you. How does it turn? Why does it turn purple?
It's the corn that we use in it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we
you're
use some
like
Native
using
American corn in there.
Like a blue corn?
Yep.
Okay,
Exactly.
very cool.
Which adds like a nice sweetness and kind of complexity to it.
So I'm a new home brewer. I'm not saying you specifically, but I'm a
Yeah,
new home
yeah.
brewer. What's the basic you start everybody off with and kind of get them on their way to doing it?
So most people, well, we do a class. So
Right,
in the class, we kind of go through using like the very basic kits that we have, extract brewing, that kind of stuff. And then we have ingredients that, you could just come in, grab a box that has everything that you need. But then we have a whole room full of malts and hops and yeast. And so sometimes people will get recipes online or out of a book or something. They can come in, we help them find everything.
So with our supplies here at Sanford Homebrew Shop, we offer that to everybody, whether that be the layperson coming in that has a Mr. Beer kit at home or somebody that has no idea what they want, all the way up to the professional breweries that exist in the town and the surrounding areas. So we sell that, we sell our surplus supplies, our bulk stuff, to a lot of the breweries that get shorted on their shipments and they can't wait to make a beer because time is money. But we also cater to everything in between. We cater to the person that's never made beer before and the person that's made a dozen batches to a person that's made thousands of batches.
And you really get like 3 different types of people that want to learn how to brew. You get the people that are more into the equipment and they just want to build out like the coolest brewery in town, and then you get people that are more like the chefs and they're the culinary minded, so they want to make beers that have 50 ingredients in them.
And do pairings, probably pairings.
Yeah, do pairings and stuff like that. And then you get the more like the microbiologists that come in and they really are fascinated by the yeast and the bacteria and the fermentation process, and they're always wanting to like collect wild yeast from their backyard or something.
Is your yeast proprietary?
All the yeast that we sell here, we actually get from laboratories.
Okay.
So they're getting it from all over the world and then propagating it, and then they ship it to us in the cooler. And that's one thing that does kind of set us apart from most breweries, because most breweries, they have a very limited selection of malts and hops and yeast that they use. Most of them just use 1 yeast or 2 yeast.
But you guys are a general store basically for brew
Right,
beers.
because we have all the home brewers
Yeah.
that if they're making a German beer, they want all German stuff. They're making a British beer the next week, they want all British stuff. And so we supply over 100 malts, 100 hops, 100 yeast. Because we're also kind of like the convenience store for a lot of the other breweries where, we ripped open a bag of grain with the forklift today. Do you have a bag of this? And we ran out of something a couple of days ago and we borrowed it from another brewery in town, and they sent it over with a case of beer. And, so it's a very like friendly community, but we also kind of work together.
So, Aaron, tell me what other beers you have, and I'm going to need another sample.
Let's see, we do every year for Christmas, we do a St. Nicholas and a Krampus, which kind of started with the German restaurant around the corner. And they do a big event every year, the Krampus Nacht. And so we brew beers for that. So I've got some of the St. Nicholas here. And those are both Belgian strong ales. So this is kind of the golden strong is the St. Nick, and then the dark strong is the Krampus.
It's a wheat beer?
It does have some wheat in it, yeah.
That's actually really good. I like that. And you only make that at Christmas time?
Yep.
Or is it Christmas time year round here at the...
No, that's a
Community
once a
brew
year,
house.
but people kind of look forward to it and they come back, and we get some home brewers that make it at home because they don't want to wait a year.
So, Aaron, I know you're not here by yourself. Tell me a little bit about Gary.
So he's my business partner. We've done this since the day that we opened. We kind of started brewing at home.
Right.
And it just kind of grew from there. Now we're up to 30-something breweries that we've helped open, and we've done a lot of judging together and consulting and that kind of stuff. It's way too much work to do by yourself. Everybody thinks the brewing industry is glamorous, and everybody thinks it's funny. You sit around, you drink beer all day, and they think it's just like brewing in your garage. But really, like, you're dealing with chemicals, you're dealing with a lot of heavy things, the equipment. That can be pretty dangerous. So we do keep it very professional, in the brew house.
So, out of all the beers you make, which one is your favorite? Give me your top 3.
Man. All right. I like the Alien Space Juice just because it's like got a really nice, complex grain flavor to it. There's no bitterness, but it's really hoppy, like all that nice, bright, citrusy, fruity flavors from the hops. So I really like that one. We do a strawberry milkshake IPA, which we started doing. My son is the manager at the ice cream shop down the street.
Okay.
And so we did it for their Christmas party. They wanted,
wow.
They wanted a strawberry milkshake beer, and I was like, all right, challenge accepted, let's do it.
Right.
And that's surprisingly good and easy to drink.
Right.
And we do a Death Star Disco, which is like a big, huge imperial stout that we age it for a year.
Oh, wow.
And that one's, it's a lot of work, but it's
Right.
really good.
So you store it here when you're aging it? Or?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so we age it with wood for a while, and then we keg it, and we let the keg sit for 6 or 8 months until it's usually January, New Year's.
So Aaron, tell me a little bit about the process. What happens when you first get in here and you're getting ready to do a brewing?
Yeah, so we start heating up water. We kind of adjust the water, adding salts to it to make the right water for the type of beer that we're doing, adjusting alkalinity and other minerals.
Okay.
And then, getting the hops out. We weigh out all the grains, crush them so they're ready to go. We mix the grains into the hot water, which activates the enzymes in the malt, and it'll start to break the starches down into sugars. And then we strain the grains back out of that, and they go to the farmer. And then we basically bring that wort to a boil, add our hops into it. So now we have a whole bunch of nice sugar water that once we boil it for an hour, kind of break some of the proteins out, get the bitterness out of our hops. We'll chill it down, usually add some more hops to it so that we're not getting bitterness, but we keep all that nice aroma and all that citrusy, floral character to it. And then we transfer it over to the fermenter, put some yeast in there, let the yeast kind of chew on all those sugars for usually about a week and a half. And then during that time, we'll kind of cap it off and let it kind of build up some of that carbonation naturally.
It's not a quick process.
No, it's not a quick process, no. And then we cool it down, carbonate it, put it in the keg. So like the beer that we're making today, it'll be about 2 weeks before it's really ready to put on tap and serve.
So it all ends up like this, right?
Yeah, all that hard work, and then somebody comes and drinks it all.
All right, well, I got to take off. Thank you,
right.
sir, for having me. I'm going to find Chip. He's going to pay the bill. But
All right.
everybody, you want to come down here to Community Brew House in Sanford. They've got a lot of great stuff. You're going to want to check it out. It's right here, Brew Hops TV. So the cool thing about Sanford Brew House is they have classes where you can learn to make your own beer, cheese.
So we hold a multitude of classes here at Sanford Homebrew Shop and Community Brew House, and they range from the beginners Homebrew 101 class, and that meets every first Sunday of every month at 2 p.m. right here in our shop. You sign up online at sanfordhomebrewshop.com, click on classes, and you can sign up right there for any available class.
After visiting Sanford Homebrew and with the help of Gary and Aaron, I think I can even do my own home brewing. Brew Hops TV. So Gary and Aaron told us about a great home brewer who's award-winning. He does everything in his garage. We're getting ready to go check him out. He's just down the road here.
Oh, I'm glad Big Dog's coming to brew hop over at my house because I got some good beers to serve him. Pours are probably going to be about 6 ounces each, and I don't know, I'll keep pouring until he stops wanting them.
Hey John, how you doing?
Great, Big Dog, good to see you.
Good to see you.
I was just finishing up on my cooling of my wort so I can get it into my carboy and pitch some yeast into it. My name is John Sather. I'm a home brewer. I've been brewing around 22 years and really enjoy it.
So what are you making today?
This is a English brown.
So John, I know you won a bunch of awards.
Yes.
What recipe is this we're doing? I know you've got several, up to like, what did you tell me, 20 different recipes?
Yes, and this one's just one that I wanted to do for the club competition, so
Okay.
I did this one. And I don't usually do a darker beer. I like more of a pale ale or American pale ale or something Belgium.
Okay.
But this is the one that I'm doing for the club competition, so I'll send this into the other competitions if it's good enough.
So has this, well, that's why I want to ask you, is this recipe already won anything? Or?
No, this is a brand new one. Put a little brown sugar in this one. We'll
Okay.
see if that makes the difference.
All right, perfect. Well, I can't wait to try it.
You know, I prefer to brew pale ales, which is a kind of a basic beer, lighter, hoppy beer. And that's what I shoot for most of the time. But on occasion, I'll do a blonde or I'll do a fantasy beer with weirdo ingredients that you have to try to create something out of a list that you get.
So it does take you about 6 to 8 hours to make this, correct?
Yes, to pull this out, to do the soaking, the cracking, the boiling,
Right.
and now the cooling.
Yeah.
It's about 6 hours.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and cleaning up too.
Right. So what are you making, about 5 gallons there?
Yeah, if you look right there, it's right at the 5-gallon mark.
Okay. Okay. So I know it's a big pot. So
Yeah, and it's all-in-one, which is nice. I switched over to the electric all-in-one system, so I can brew up to 8 gallons per brew. But I prefer to brew around 5 to 6 gallons per brew. That's my recipes that I create.
what does it cost to make something like this?
Depends on the recipe. If it's a big Piney the Elder, it might be $45.
Okay, wow.
And if it's a smaller, little English brown, it could be $25.
Right,
So
okay.
it's in that range.
It's just based on your recipe and ingredients.
Yeah,
Is that
and how
the-
many grains,
Okay.
10 pounds, 20 pounds of malt or something
Okay.
like that, right?
Looks like it's really starting to come together in there, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is. I got to get it moving. It's starting to whirlpool better now.
So John, I know we're waiting for a couple of weeks for this to be ready. What do you have that's award-winning that I can try right now?
I have a cold mug over here, and I'll let you have one of my Belgian blondes. First, all my beers are, man, you gotta, stop dumping. You gotta get a valve on your pipe, on your pot and all that. And over the years, my beers were pretty rough. But now that I've got some better equipment and I've got a lot better technique, I've created some real good recipes and beers where I can actually feel confident to send them into a home brew contest, which we have 7 of them here in Florida.
So as we get ready for the competition coming up in Miami, John's going to enter his beers, and we have some mead going in. The entries are due in a couple weeks. We'll travel those down to Miami to compete against other entries. And last year he was the heavy metal brewer down in Miami in Coconut Cup, winning Best of Show, first place, second place with his beer and mead. I'm very proud of him. He's won a lot of medals again. He's very engaged in doing this hobby, which has almost become a job.
Nice cold cheers mug
Ooh,
for
nice.
you. All right. Give you some of this blonde ale here. Give you a sample. Might be enough.
Yeah, it's just a taste. So John, when did you make this?
This was about the second week of December I brewed
Okay.
this, and now it's the second, third week in January, and it's very drinkable.
Right. Ooh, that is very good.
Yeah, it's got a nice little
So
Belgian
tell me,
mead
your
taste.
profiles.
It's got some banana and clove from the yeast, and then it's got a very bready, malty backbone that balances the bittering hop quite well, I think. Yeah.
So you're getting ready to submit this to a festival, correct?
Yes. Well, a competition.
Competition, okay. And which one is that?
Coconut Cup down in Miami.
That's very good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have some myself.
Go ahead.
There we go. Cheers.
Very good, very good. Now tell us a little bit about this other refrigerator. What have you got going on in there?
This is what I call my fermentation chamber.
Okay.
And that's where I keep it a certain degrees. I can turn it down to 38 or 40, somewhere even colder if the fridge get that cold, up to 89 or something. And then this is where I ferment. This one's about 3 weeks in, but it looks like it's slowed down quite a bit. This one I called Volunteer.
So is your yeast still, where I can see it bubbling in
This is the yeast at the top.
right.
Ale yeast really kind of dominate the top of the wort or the beer now, since there's yeast eating it, it's beer.
Right,
And lager yeasts are more toward the bottom down in this area.
okay.
So a lot of times you can see the activity going up and down sometimes, but this here is slowed quite a bit.
Yeah,
The
you can still see it definitely moving, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
a little bit. The convection slowed down quite a bit though. So this is my fermentation, or if I get an extra beers, I'll put them in here because
Okay.
I don't want them to get up into the 70s, because
Right.
then the wild yeast can kick in and start contaminating flavors.
So how long does it take you in each one of these, how long do you keep them in that?
By 15 days maybe for the primary,
Okay.
and maybe another 7 to 5 on the secondary, because I'll rack off, or all the brewing terminology.
Right.
I'll transfer over to a different one and get all that yeast and all that out of there, and then it'll settle out and clear out. I'll cold crash it. I'll get it real cold.
Okay.
And that'll settle the proteins and the polyphenols and all the dead yeast cells and whatever all hit the bottom, so it clears out real well. Like this beer's right clear.
So what are your names here? I see something written on it. Loving every minute of it.
Yeah, this is this is my American Pale Ale.
Okay.
And I wrote "Loving Every Minute of It," kind of like the old song from
Right.
Dan Reno or Mike Reno.
Right.
And then this one is American Volunteer, because we were just volunteering to help, my wife and I.
Okay, very good.
And these in here, I'll tell you, since you want to know the name. I mean, that's one of the fun things about homebrewing.
Right.
You can name your beers, and
Call it whatever you want.
and we're like mad scientists of
Yeah.
beer brewing. I mean, we can do whatever we want. We aren't labeled to a production line at a professional
Right,
brewery,
right,
so we
right.
can do a lot of stuff that way. This one I named Changing of the Board, because we had some voting for the last homebrew club and boards changed. And this one is We All Talk to Cats. If you
Okay.
can get in there and see that one.
And what are you going to use the We All Talk to Cats for?
That's the beer you have now.
Oh.
That's the Belgian Blonde, really. And then
Okay.
some of my other favorites are in here too.
Yeah, see that. Got a good collection.
Yeah, I even got a little mead. We better try some of
yeah.
that too. Mead is a much easier process than beer. Mead, you just mix up the water with the honey, and then you can adjust the pH with a baking soda solution or something, and then add your yeast. Where beer, you have to heat up water, crack the grains, soak the grains, drain the grains, then bring all that up to a boil that, and then cool that down and transfer all that process into a fermenter, a carboy or a conical or something like that. So beer is a much longer, difficult process to come up with good, clean, flavorful beer, where mead is or honey wine is a lot easier to make. It takes maybe 2 hours to do what I'm doing here in 6 or 7 hours. So it's a lot less time consuming. Doesn't take much, just a little sip. I'll try some with you.
Yeah.
This is a semi-sweet,
Okay. That's not too bad.
still. There's names for these, which are
Okay.
pelagent, which would be a little bubbly, kind of like a beer,
Right.
or sparkling like champagne, or still, and that's what this one is, a
Yeah.
still one.
What's
And
the
then
ABV on this?
This is pretty up there, 13%. So meads can be anywhere 10 to 18%.
Okay.
And they're very easy drinking. They can hurt you quick.
Yeah, that's a very flavorful. I've never had mead before. I really do like that.
Yeah, it's very good, isn't
Yeah.
it?
I can taste the honey.
Yeah, yeah.
Very,
It's,
very honey forward.
yeah. To me, I can identify the honey as being the clover honey.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
So I know you're a beer drinker and a mead drinker. Your wife, she likes the meads, right?
yeah, she'll try the meads a lot more than the beers.
Okay.
She thinks beers all taste the same. and I've taught
she
her
told me
they
that
don't.
earlier. So how many, do you make a lot of mead as well as the beer?
I make 5-gallon batches of mead just like I do beer.
Okay.
So I have a lot of mead.
Now, are there competitions for the mead? Or?
Yes, there are.
Okay.
There are separate competitions, and the competitions that we were talking about earlier
Right.
accept meads too, and ciders. So it's a malted beverage competition where wine is more from the sweetness of the grape and no malting done.
So have you won any competitions from the mead?
A lot.
Oh, wow.
I've
Okay.
won a lot.
Really? Wow.
I'd say if those medals you saw back in there, probably 2/3 of them from meads.
Wow, that is very good.
Yeah, I'm trying to get really good on meads, and I am, I think. They call me the mead man.
So I know there's like 1.2 million people in the country right now making beer. Is meads on that same level, or is it a little bit?
It's a little less, I think.
Okay.
People are afraid to get into meads because they take longer, and after the fermentation process, you have to adjust them with an acid blend or a tartaric acid or a tannin or something like
Okay.
that. So and then you have to back sweeten them. You have to stop you don't really castrate the yeast. You stop them from reproducing, and the
Okay.
ones that are there are still there, and you dump some more honey into it. and that way it'll sweeten it up and take away the what I call the Listerine or the cough drop.
The cost difference between a mead and making beer.
Quite a bit of difference. A 5-gallon batch of mead is anywhere from 75 to 125.
Oh, wow.
Where a 5-gallon batch of beer is anywhere from 25 to 45.
Okay, so it's just based on ingredients.
Ingredients and the price of honey for those years.
And how many recipes for the mead do you have?
Oh, I have to look in that book. Plenty.
Yeah.
50?
Oh, wow.
I'm guessing just off the top
That
of
you've
my
made
head.
yourself, that you created, or
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
oh
that
wow,
I've done, yeah.
Yeah, that is amazing.
So my favorite is a mead. He makes them with raspberries. I like fruit mead, any kind of blackberries, raspberries. We've had mango. Yeah, the fruitier the better for me. I just have a palate for that.
There you go. Thanks a lot, John, for having me in the garage. You are a true brewmeister. I've got a brew hop I got to go do, so I'll see you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Brew Hops TV. We're at Little Wekiva Brewery here in Longwood, Florida. We're gonna go in and check out their famous Jalapeno Cream Ale.
We got started as a result of a couple of Christmas presents that we gave each other. Just so happened because we both like beer, and we gave ourselves or each other a beer package, if you will, on Christmas, and from there we decided, we think we can do this better. And
came with the envelope, and there was a place we hadn't heard of before. It was called Sanford Homebrew Shop in Sanford, and we went down there and met the owners, Gary and Aaron, and they did a two-part class. The first part was you would go and brew, and they would show you and teach you about all the processes involved with brewing, and then they'd let it ferment for a couple weeks, and then you'd go back and then taste this amazing concoction that you had come up with no coaching whatsoever. So the journey to become professional brewers, took a little while. There was after the homebrew course, we kind of dabbled a little bit, maybe took a break for a bit of time. We did that for years and just, would have more parties. And they always say that, everyone's a great brewer when you're giving away beer for free. But we really thought, man, we've got some interesting beers we thought we could really kind of share with the masses. And so one day we were in a car during COVID of all times, and Dad just out of nowhere just said, hey, you want to start a brewery? And I said, let's do it. Hey, Big Dog, how are you?
Good, Chris. How are you, man? Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
So
we got some beers here for you.
Let's start with the Poblano.
Yeah, so this one is one that we made just for a festival, Smash Festival that is held here locally. It's got Poblano Serrano peppers in it, but that's what you're getting when you put it to your nose. There's gonna be a whole nother vibe going on when you drink it. So you're gonna get some of that vanilla and that cinnamon, the toffee, and the cocoa.
Yeah, it's not hot at all like you would think.
No, like you expect you're going to get this heater, and you're not. You're getting something very kind of sweet.
It's very smooth too.
Yeah, it's got almost like a creaminess, like a stout almost going, but it's like blonde. So yeah,
that's perfect. So where do you source the peppers?
Yeah, so actually we just go to a local Latin market here. That's where we get all our best peppers. Okay. And actually I've found in beer, the more beaten and abused those peppers look, they just work a lot better. The flavors are really ready to come out of them. So that's what we do.
What have we got here?
All right, so it's close to St. Patty's. So of course we've got another one of our core beers is our Irish Red, but I'm assuming it's gonna be very popular over the next couple of days. So fairly standard. You got your standard barley in there. We do roasted barley as well, give it a little bit of that roasted flavor. We do actually some darker Munich malt to help bring out that color as well. And we kind of cheat it sometimes. So Irish Red is made with English ale yeast. That might actually make some Irish people very unhappy.
It's a good beer, it doesn't matter, right?
That's right. But yeah, that one's a little on the lighter side. I mean, it's got the malt flavor, but being here in Florida, you still want to be able to kind of crush on one of those.
Yeah, it's another smooth drinking. It's not heavy by any means.
No. You can definitely drink a couple pints of that for sure.
All right.
And then while we're going, we're going to just keep going through Ireland there. So we did our pretty fairly basic Irish dry stout. Now this guy, unlike the big brother over across the pond, is just CO2 carbonated, so we're not using nitro on this guy. Okay. But still, you're getting a lot of those really roasty notes going on. But it is dry. It's not heavy at all. Not like a milk stout or an American stout. So
since you've been to Ireland, you pretty much know.
Yeah.
You know your way around it.
I feel like we do. So. And that's just a classic. Whether it's warm or cold, that's a good drinking beer as well. Yeah.
And it tastes legit. Like we've both been to Ireland,
right.
so
Yeah. Again, not trying to pretend to be those guys, but it's its own way of it being a solid beer.
Again, smoother than.
And being on CO2, that's you get that roasted barley and that flake barley in there, and that really helps to create that kind of
really nice, creamy. This is a good St. Patrick's Day drink for sure.
Yeah, sponsor.
But all time. Yeah. Yeah, I really like that. Again, 3 smooth ones so far. So now, let's talk about this one.
Yeah, so this is ironically our flagship beer, and not really ironically, it's a beer that we put a lot of love and passion into, but we were kind of surprised that it became so popular. Just the patrons seem to be all for it. It's basically got a permanent residence on tap number 7 now. So this is our jalapeno cream ale.
And this was by accident that you kind of discovered it, right?
So, I mean, I've had a cream ale with jalapenos before, and we kind of mastered it over time and tweaked it and wanted to get a certain flavor. But what was the accident was how popular it was going to be. I had no idea. It was more of a tap filler originally, but now this one you're gonna get that pepper that you didn't get on the first one. Definitely. So you get some of that pepper tickle on the back of the throat. But again, on the drier side, it's your basic American cream ale base.
Yeah, it's smooth. The peppery is definitely there. Over this one for sure, which I thought this one was going to be a little bit peppier one.
Yeah,
peppery one.
Yeah,
sorry,
no,
I had too many already. We're just getting started.
But yeah, that one's a lot of fun, and like I said, it's very popular and it's light enough. You know, the body is there, but it's light enough that you can drink several of them if that's your. You
do taste the jalapeno. I mean,
I know it's
jalapeno. I know it's jalapeno. That's
yeah.
So which is your dad's favorite?
You know, I think Dad of these would be the Irish Red. I think Dad would go to the Irish Red more than not. I think he enjoys them all as well. He likes the stout, and he was really excited about what we did there for the Poblano beer and the sweetness.
And what award did you win?
So Smash Festival is put on by a local brewery. Hourglass does a festival every year. So we were fortunate enough to get some appreciation for that beer. So
how long does it take to put one of these together?
On average, these are all ales, so they're all pretty much ready to drink within about 2 weeks. Sometimes as little as 10 days. Both the jalapeno and the Serrano one, the Poblano, are made with Kveik yeast, which is the Norwegian farmhouse yeast. So those guys are actually done fermenting in a couple of days. You just give them a little time to condition and let the peppers do its thing. Those can be done 10 days. And our lagers usually take more of the 3 to 4 weeks.
All those were really good. I really, from side to side, it was different landscapes of flavors, everything. It was really good.
To brew it once is one thing, okay? But to be consistent, that's hard to make something consistently the same way. And we found the secret, really, because I like to say it this way: to be consistent, you have to remember what you forgot last time.
Like I said, the 2 pepper ones, this was the one I was really expecting to have that hardcore pepper taste, but your jalapeno is definitely, I definitely taste the jalapeno in that.
Yeah,
and it's I don't even know how to describe it. It's just in there. I'll tell you, that's really good. I'm telling you guys out there that you want to come and try this. Well, thank you, Chris, man. I appreciate it.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot for joining us. We're here in Longwood, Florida. If you're looking for a great little hideaway spot, it's the Little Wekiva Brewery. You'll be coming back time and time again, and get the flight because you get everything right here and 4 beers. So thanks a lot for joining us. Brew Hops.